This is a quick video to explain to you how to fix your game. If you think that your game looks all washed out, it's probably because you haven't configured the HDR in the correct way. Now, if you look around and your game looks like this, like very gray, like very washed out, you need to do this. You need to go to the settings, the HDR configuration, you enter, and on this part, on the maxed brightness, it says setting the maximum brightness in HDR mode. Please adjust the brightness until the image is barely visible. So you need to drag this line until the image is barely visible, like there. You apply your settings and your game will look less washed out. But the game doesn't tell you, and I don't know if this is normal or not, but if we go back to the settings, to the HDR settings again, and instead of following the instructions that the game gives us, what you're going to do is that you're going to drag this line all the way to the middle, or maybe a bit more, like here. You're going to apply your settings, and what you're going to see is that now your game has way more colors. It's looking more colorful. I don't know if this is a bug or if this is intended, but the game is looking really washed out for people because they are probably following the instructions of the HDR settings, and in no part of those instructions it says that moving that line is going to give you more colors. Now I am going to put the settings back to default so you see the difference. You see? All washed out. It looks like garbage. It fucking looks terrible. So again, you go to the settings, the HDR settings, and you are going to drag this line all the way to the middle or even more, it depends. Now you have colors once again. This is how the nights look with those settings. And you're probably wondering, why are the nights not pitch black? It's because they lied about it. The nights in this game are not as advertised. They are not like in Dragon's Dogma. So they lied, they changed, or I don't know what happened, but the nights are very bright. There is an option to make the nights a bit darker, but there is a big problem. If you move the setting that I am going to show you, it's going to make the nights darker, but it's going to make also your days darker. It's going to look really bad during daytime. So to do this, you have to go to the HDR settings again, and instead of messing with the max brightness, you're going to have to go to exposure, and you go all the way down, you apply, and there you go. You have your pitch black nights. You can't see shit. Obviously you're not going to play like this, so let's go back to the settings and let's drag the exposure to 25. Now this looks a bit more decent, still too bright in my opinion, but like I said, it's impossible for you to get pitch black nights in this game because the option doesn't even exist. The game is not coded like that. They lied. The promotional material was a lie. There are no pitch black nights in this game. And like I said, if you reduce the exposure during the night, then you are going to have to change it back during the day because it's going to make your days look really fucking bad. So there is no way to have pitched black nights in this game. They lied. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that this game, without a direct light source hitting the world, it's going to look flat really badly. And one of the reasons why I think so, I believe this game doesn't have normal ambient occlusion like in other games. There is in fact not even an option about ambient occlusion in these settings. So the reason why I think they don't have that is because they are using ray reconstruction. So if you are playing without ray reconstruction, your game is going to look flatter when there is not a direct light source hitting the surface of the objects in the game. For example, in this house looks really fucking bad because I am not using ray reconstruction and there is not a direct light source hitting the surface of the house. But if you enable ray reconstruction, all of these scenes where there is not a direct light source hitting the surface of the objects is going to look much better. It's going to give you what you will get with ambient occlusion in other games. Now the problem with ray reconstruction is that it lowers the performance a lot. One of the reasons is because they force you to use max lighting when using ray reconstruction. I hope they change that on a patch because it's fucking retarded. Another thing to keep in mind with ray reconstruction, aside from the fact that it's going to tank your FPS like crazy, and one of the reasons that I don't use it, is that the interiors are probably going to look much better too. There is also another problem with ray reconstruction. The surface of the objects are going to look flatter in some cases, like in the case of this wall here. This is without ray reconstruction. You can see the difference in the rocks here. You see that the rocks look really pointy, but if I turn on ray reconstruction, that is going to change. You see? Now these rocks, this wall looks much flatter. This is a bug, and the developers, I think they are aware of this bug, but they haven't fixed it. So if you care about this type of thing, probably don't turn on ray reconstruction.